Welcome home, my new 2003 Toyota Camry LE. This thing is absolutely mint gray, hubcaps, new headlights. I love it so much. Oh my goodness, this is what I've been talking about. This is the new daily I've been wanting to pick up, and 78,000 smackaronis on the odometer. I cannot believe it. First thing is first, we want to check the oil, and this is the most obvious part. We want to make sure it's between the min and max line, and we want to make sure it smells like oil, not like fuel. We don't want it to smell like coolant. We don't want it to be a different color. Make it as obvious and as clear as possible. We want it to be oil on that, and we want it to be good. Next, a lot of cars actually don't have this accessible, but this is a trans dipstick, and this shows the ATF fluid is great. In following, I pulled off the radiator cap, and I looked at the coolant to make sure that it's clean and the right fluid. Coolant looks good. A couple of these hoses all also look fine. This is all dirty, but this is the coolant reservoir tank. Add a little more here, and you can see here, but it's pretty clean. Toyota uses that like orange coolant. Next, we have power steering. I want to open this. It's a little low here. You can see there's just a power steering leak right here. Next, it's accessory belts and our drive belts. These all look really great, and there's no cracking or anything on these. The tensioner pulley is still doing its job because it's still got tension here. See, there's obviously a valve cover gasket leak. It's been leaking for a very long time. You can see it's all cruddy here. Battery is not bad. Oh, here it is. 2023, 32023. Okay, that's good. I have my little tool that'll tell me the percentage of water in the brake fluid. This looks really clean. You can see just at the top of the cap here. Next, I pulled the air filter. This is two 10mm bolts, and I can just peer inside to see the cotton air filter. And this was honestly done probably 10,000 miles ago. It has no dirt, big debris in it, so I just kept this as it is. Very important, but next is the top hats for the front struts. These are not cracked. The rubber is in good shape, and if you had any problems, you'd have big clunking in the suspension when you drive. Here, I'm just looking at what's accessible to me, which is the top motor mount. You can see it's cracked here. And it's not a big deal, but something to note if you have problems in the future. Next, you want to bring your jack in so you can check the car up. We want to check underneath the engine for leaks, and we want to check the suspension and the brakes along with the tires. If you don't have this, since this is a post-purchase inspection, we're going to do this after the fact. All right, so got the car jacked up. Wait to see if we have any oil leaks or anything major, and then we'll check the suspension. So this was an East Coast car for most of his life, so it has quite a bit of surface rust. So we want to check some of that as well. Half shafts are a bit rusty. Flex joint here has a hole in it, but it's not that big of a deal. Our oil pan gaskets over here. So that is all needs to be looked at. That's all oil. And there's our filter. So I'm not going to be moving any of these joints here because it's hard to do when you have a non-lift, but end links here, I mean, they're not great, right? Like all this could be replaced. Here at the knuckle, the ball joint. I mean, it's not cracked, but none of this was done. Like all this is original, so this will have to be done at some point. This here is original. You can see the strut tower. I don't see any leaking out the bottom here. Brake line looks fine. This is a friendly reminder that you do not need to have power tools or anything special to be able to do this part. To inspect your wheels, tires, suspension, brakes, you can use the car jack and the tools that come with the car. Brake pads actually have some decent life in them. I'll check all the other ones, but this is pretty good. The rotors are pretty beat. You can see they're starting to get a groove in them here, and that's usually not what you want. This is when you have this same kind of groove, it'll dig into them, and then you have vibration, and then you'll have issues where these will need to be replaced pretty soon. So nothing really to worry about here. This is just the dust shield. This is all just deteriorated from it being a East Coast car. Calipers actually look relatively good. It's look okay. Again, these struts are really rough. This would be a huge pain once these need to be replaced. Lower control arm here. Tie rod. I looked at most of the tires already. These are 205, 65, 15s to be about, I don't know, 40% life, I'd say. You can see this is the wear mark, 40-50%. They're cupping pretty bad. You can see this. Just means that they need to be rotated. They're starting to circle off. If you look at the inside of the tire, see how they're pretty straight, and these are curved down. Wear in the inside like this, and then you get the worn tires much faster. That's why you need to rotate your tires. And the inside doesn't do it as much here. As you can see, these are pretty straight. Tires will need to be rotated. Okay, I barely even touched this, and they all came off. the brake, drum brakes, so I can't see. I would have to take the whole thing apart. The little screw here, you take this apart, and you can check the shoes inside of the drum to see the condition of them. So I don't know, but I'm probably assuming, looking at the fronts, that these are probably in good shape, but all looks like all the surface rust here. Crunchy crunch. I don't see any cracking. Yeah. And this is just a great example. These are the rear tires, right? Not turning with the rear wheels. You can see how much more life we have since these have not been rotated. And you can see they're not cupping. So you can see you got a pretty straight edge here on both sides. And so we want to put these in the front and put these on for a little longer than you want for a regular rotation, since those have been on there for too long. Then at that point, you'll probably be able to rotate normally once these are worn down to the same kind of level that the fronts have, and then you'll be able to have an even wear as long as you rotate them regularly. But then you'll be able to get, honestly, a pretty good life out of these tires at that point. A very, very important thing is to make sure you always check the tire pressure in your tires, because not only is it a very common thing if you have a blowout when you're on the highway, when you're on the street, because of low tire pressure, but you're protecting your tires, especially when you have new tires and you're running low tire pressure. You want to make sure you always have that tire pressure set to what the specification of the manufacturer is. Check the inner door card. There's a little tiny sticker that's in there. I'll tell you what you're supposed to have. And that's it. Now you've done a pre-purchase inspection or a post-purchase inspection like me, so you know what to look for when you're buying a new car.